Hello, I'm Amy Blaylock. Welcome to City Hall this week. The city is moving ahead with implementing its proactive rental inspection program. City council members received an update on the program during its March 7th work session.
The proactive rental inspection program is a program that allows us to proactively inspect rental properties for violations of the minimum housing code. In the spring of last year, the City Council passed the program, and they also assigned a designated area where those proactive inspections can be done.
There are 5 general components to the program. Those include periodic inspections within a designated 12 square mile area within the central part of the city, reasonable cause periodic inspections, a property manager entrepreneurial program for low-income property owners, self-certification for property owners who have not had violations, and a registration requirement for property owners who have been cited with 3 or more violations in a given year. If those properties are brought into compliance within a reasonable amount of time, if the property owner attends landlord training workshops, and if there are no other violations on that property within a year, the property owner is not required to pay the registration fee.
So we really are about pushing compliance and bringing up housing standards versus having some sort of punitive program.
The program has been gradually introduced to residents and property managers and owners since last summer.
We began with mailing over 20,000 postcards to all of the owners of property and all of the residents, both homeowners and renters, in the designated area, just letting them know about the program. We've run full-page ads in both English and Spanish-speaking newspapers. We've had 10 public information sessions. We've reached out to community organizations, PAC meetings, neighborhood associations, and the property management and rental property owner community through their professional groups. We've been to a lot of meetings and presented a lot of program just to let people know.
So far, the city has conducted 1,965 designated area inspections and 432 reasonable cause inspections.
The top violations that we're finding are smoke detectors or CO detectors that are either missing or they're not functioning properly. We also find a lot of plumbing leak problems. Either the waste plumbing lines are leaking, creating health hazards and rot and damaging property, or the supply lines, which results in higher water bills than a waste of resource. Windows are another big violation that we find. They're malfunctioning, or they're not maintained properly, or they need repair.
Of the inspections completed so far, 73% have resulted in housing code violations. Business owners interested in gaining funds to help improve their properties now have a way of doing that through 2 city-sponsored grant opportunities. The Office of Economic and Workforce Development is now accepting applications for targeted areas inside the city limits. The funding is available through the Retail and Professional Services and Building Improvement grants. Eligible projects will be considered for both grants in the downtown development tier and within the community development area outside of the downtown development tier. That includes targeted corridors and projects within targeted urban growth areas. The deadline to apply for both grants is Thursday, April 4th. For more information, call 919-560-4965, extension 15207. The City Council is putting its support and more taxpayer money behind the monitoring of Falls Lake and the Falls Lake watershed. Members adopted a resolution to that effect during their March 18th meeting. The commitment of support and more money was needed in order for the Upper Neuse River Basin Association to begin work on the second step in the re-examination of the Falls Lake Nutrient Management Strategy goals.
The Upper Neuse River Basin Association is a nonprofit that consists of the local governments that are located within the Upper Neuse River Basin. Almost all of the local governments that are in the Upper Neuse River Basin, which mostly is the Falls Lake watershed, are members of the Upper Neuse River Basin.
The goals are a simplified way of referring to a complicated process.
The state actually sets goals for all of the lakes in the state. Goals for how much algae, goals for toxics, goals for any number of things. So the state has a goal for algae in Falls Lake, and they use a measure called chlorophyll A to determine what that level of algae should be in the lake. When the standard's not met, so chlorophyll A is not met, there's too much algae in Falls Lake, then the state has an obligation to develop a plan for how to meet that standard in the lake. And they do this with any lake that's not meeting a standard. So when they develop that plan for algae, they develop a plan for nitrogen and phosphorus, which of course are essential nutrients that help plant growth. So the Falls Lake goals, in short, are the reductions in nitrogen and phosphorus that need to be made so that we can meet the state's goal for algae in Falls Lake.
The association decided a re-examination of the goals was needed because the reductions in nitrogen and phosphorus that are required are unable to be met.
They're the highest that are in the state. At this point, they're the highest reductions that are required anywhere in the country. And all of the science tells us that the ultimate reduction is unachievable, that the city of Durham, as well as everybody else in the watershed, can't actually make that reduction. However, that is on the books. It is a state law that we are supposed to meet it. It leaves the city very vulnerable to lawsuits, leaves us vulnerable to other regulatory action because there's a standard out there that we can't meet. And that's from a stormwater perspective as well as a wastewater perspective. Neither portion of the city can actually meet that.
To fully fund the next step in the re-examination, each member of the association will have to pay more. Durham's contribution will go from $60,000 to nearly $150,000 per year. Trail season has arrived in Durham, and whether you walk, bike, or run, it's time to get active. An Our Trails, Our Town event will be held on Thursday, April 4th at the American Tobacco Trail at the corner of Moorhead Avenue and Blackwell Street. The evening's activities will kick off at 5:30 p.m. and last until 7, featuring a non-competitive walk, information booths, volunteer information, and bike tune-ups. For more information, visit dprplaymore.org. If you're ready to celebrate spring's arrival by going green, we have just the event for you. Find out how you can take part in this year's Earth Day festivities when City Hall this week continues.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans.
These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids.
Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. But so is the solution.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back. Anyone interested in going green in Durham will want to make plans to attend this year's Earth Day Festival. The free event will be held on Sunday, April 21st from noon until 5 p.m. Participants will get to take part in green activities and demonstrations, learn about green practices and products, and enjoy great music, food, and much more. For more information about this year's event, visit the Parks and Recreation homepage on the city's website. And finally, here's a reminder now of how the city's schedule will be affected by the Good Friday holiday. Most city offices will be closed Friday, March 29th, and bulky item and yard waste collection for regular Friday customers will occur on Monday, April 1st. For more information on other closings due to the Good Friday holiday, visit the city's website or contact Durham One Call at 560-1200. That does it for City Hall this week. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And of course, you can find us on demand on DTV8's webpage and on the city's YouTube channel. I'm Amy Blaylock. Thank you for joining us.